It was supposed to be a simple fishing trip, a weekend of relaxation to escape the grind of everyday life. My friend Adam and I had rented a small boat to take us far out to sea, where we could fish, drink, and bask in the sun. The excitement of getting away had us both in good spirits. We packed the essentials: bait, rods, and enough beer to last us for days. The morning we set sail, the ocean was calm, a vast sheet of glass stretching out toward the horizon. The sun glimmered on the surface like scattered diamonds, and the air was crisp and fresh. Adam had been on trips like this before, but it was my first time heading out so far. I was anxious, but he assured me it would be the best trip of my life. As the hours passed, I began to relax, lulled by the sound of the water gently slapping the boat. But by mid-afternoon, something changed. The sky, which had been bright and blue, began to dull. Clouds rolled in from the distance, heavy and foreboding. Before we knew it, a thick fog descended, blanketing everything in a heavy, oppressive mist. "What the hell?" Adam muttered, staring out into the white void. The forecast didn't mention anything like this. I shrugged, trying to stay calm. "It's probably just a random patch. We'll get through it." But we didn't. The fog only grew thicker, swallowing the sea around us. Within minutes, we couldn't see more than a few feet in any direction. The horizon was gone, replaced by an endless white expanse. The boat's GPS started to flicker, displaying nonsense data before it went dead altogether. Even the compass seemed confused, the needle spinning aimlessly. "We're lost," Adam said, his voice unnervingly calm. "But we'll figure it out." We tried everything. Changing direction, cutting the engine to wait for the fog to lift, but nothing worked. Hours passed, and the mist never cleared. The sun began to sink, though we couldn't see it through the dense fog. The temperature dropped, the warmth of the day fading into a cold, damp chill that clung to our skin. We were stranded, somewhere in the vastness of the ocean, with no sense of direction and no way to call for help. It was Adam who spotted the ship first. "Look," he said, pointing toward the mist. First, I saw nothing, but as we drifted closer, a dark shape materialized. A massive, rusted hulk of a ship, its silhouette emerging from the fog like some ancient, forgotten beast. It was old, incredibly old, its hull caked with rust and covered in strange markings. No lights, no sounds. Just a decaying shell of what must have once been a grand vessel. "What the hell is that?" I asked, my heart pounding. Adam stared, his brow furrowed. "I don't know, but maybe there's something, or someone, on board." I didn't like the idea of boarding the derelict ship. Everything about it screamed danger. But Adam was adamant, and without any other options, I agreed. We tied our boat to the ship and climbed aboard. The moment my feet touched the deck, I felt it, an overwhelming sense of dread. The wood beneath us creaked with every step, and the air was thick with the stench of salt water, rot, and something else I couldn't quite place, something metallic, like blood. The ship was completely abandoned, its deck slick with grime and algae. The rails were corroded, and the windows of the cabins were broken or clouded with dirt. It was as though the ship had been floating here for decades, forgotten by time and the sea. "We should head inside," Adam said, gesturing toward an open door that led to the lower decks. I wanted to argue, but something about the way he said it, the determination in his voice, made me hesitate. We made our way into the belly of the ship, navigating narrow corridors lit only by the pale, ghostly glow filtering through the fog. The walls were peeling, and strange symbols were carved into the wood, unfamiliar and unsettling. "What do you think happened here?" I whispered, my voice barely audible over the eerie silence. "No idea," Adam replied, his eyes scanning the walls. "But this place gives me the creeps." We found the captain's quarters eventually, the door hanging loosely from its hinges. Inside, the room was in shambles. Maps and charts were strewn across the floor, and an ancient, leather-bound journal lay open on the desk. Adam picked it up, thumbing through the brittle pages. "Listen to this," he said, reading aloud from the last entry, dated 50 years ago. "The crew is gone. All of them vanished. I hear their voices at night, calling from the sea. The ship is cursed. I know it now. If anyone finds this, leave while you still can. The sea is hungry. My stomach twisted as I listened to the captain's final words. Something about the way they were written, so desperate, so certain, sent a shiver down my spine. But before I could say anything, a loud crash echoed from the hallway outside. What was that? I whispered. Adam's face went pale. We're not alone. We ran out into the corridor, but it was empty. The sound had come from somewhere deeper in the ship. Every instinct told me to get off that ship, but Adam was determined to investigate. Against my better judgment, I followed him. As we descended into the lower levels, the air grew colder. The stench of decay was overpowering, and I began to feel lightheaded. We rounded a corner and stopped dead in our tracks. At the far end of the corridor stood a figure. At first, I thought it was a man, but as the figure moved closer, I realized it wasn't human. Its skin was gray, mottled like the hull of the ship, and its eyes, black, soulless pits, stared right through us. We need to leave. Now, I whispered, but Adam didn't move. He was transfixed, staring at the thing as it glided silently toward us. I grabbed his arm and pulled him back, snapping him out of his trance. We ran, sprinting back toward the deck, the ship's narrow corridors seeming to twist and warp as we moved. I could hear footsteps behind us, multiple sets, not just the one figure. When we reached the deck, the fog had closed in even tighter, and our boat was gone. No, 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 Adam screamed, running to the edge of the ship. The small boat we had tied up had vanished without a trace, leaving us stranded on the cursed vessel. The ship groaned, its rusted metal creaking ominously. Then I saw them, dozens of shadowy figures emerging from the mist, their faces twisted in agony. They were the crew, or what was left of them, doomed to wander the ship for eternity. Their voices filled the air, a cacophony of whispers and wails, calling out to us, beckoning us to join them. We have to jump, I shouted, but Adam was already lost. The figures closed in, surrounding him, their bony hands reaching out. I turned and ran, throwing myself into the icy water. The last thing I heard before I hit the sea was Adam's scream, cut short as the fog swallowed him whole. I drifted for hours, the cold seeping into my bones. By some miracle, I washed ashore, alone and half-mad with terror. No one believed me when I told them what happened. They said it was the fog, that we got lost, that Adam drowned. But I know the truth. That ship is still out there, drifting through the fog, waiting for its next victims. And I'll never go to sea again because some ships are better left forgotten.